Welcome to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
Erick Gama from Amarillo Stationery.
All right, let's get into the questions. When I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
I think Twisby.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
As-
they have some like pretty cool colors, like the Twisby Eco, it's a pretty affordable pen. Handles shimmer pretty well, although I'm not a huge shimmer fan. That's what I've heard of. So yeah, that's what I think of, Twisby.
right. How did you get into pens?
Um, so this was like probably 3 years ago, pre-pandemic. I posted something on Facebook about really loving cute notebooks. And my friend Jeffrey saw that post and he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, like, do you also like fountain pens?" And I'm like, "I've never tried them." So, and Jeffrey, by the way, for those who don't know, he's the host of the Spanish podcast Tinterias. Um, and so we planned a trip.
In combination with Sailor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, and so we planned a trip to Atlas Stationery in Chicago, and so he took me there, and I bought my first fountain pen, which was a Platinum Procyon.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, so that was my very first pen, and then just after that, it was like a few trips later. Then I bought a Pilot Vention Point was my second pen, and then a Lamy Safari was my third pen. Funnily enough,
progression.
yeah, yeah, it's a very progression for sure.
Um, your first pen was from Platinum. What color was it? What nib size was it? Like, what are the details on that pen?
Yeah, the color of the pen was a platinum Procyon. I still have it because I haven't gotten rid of it. It's a platinum Procyon, so it's a sorry, platinum Procyon and citron yellow. It's like a lemony yellow type of color. And this was before I became obsessed with the color yellow. But it was just like something I was like, it looks fun, it looks interesting, it's cute. And then what I liked about it was that it had three ink cartridges. So I didn't have to worry about like buying ink because I don't think I bought any ink that day. I was like, I'll just use the cartridges and like, figure it out. But it was a medium nib because I decided I was like, fine is too fine, broad is too broad, so medium is just a happy medium. So yeah. And eventually I ended up not liking the inks in there because like they're very interesting choices in with that little set, but it did the job for a few months.
Fair enough. What's your current daily driver?
Oh my gosh, I have so many pens inked up right now. But I think the one that I'm using a lot is hopefully you guys can see it, but it's this super cool pen by Glenn Stanley. He's one of my favorite pen makers because he's been doing awesome stuff. But this material is so interesting. It's just you can put any ink in there. And I had him do a blue section with the pen. So it's a cool little surprise. And it's inked up with actually one of my inks from my shop, Azul Frida, which is a perfect blue for it. And I've been writing a lot of thank you notes for my shop. So this is probably my daily driver right now, although I do have a lot of pens inked up.
Honestly, same. I think I've
Yeah,
got 22,
right,
20
right. Like,
on my desk right now that have ink in them.
yeah, show me a person who doesn't have at least like five inked up, right?
Well, like you ink one up and then you like play with it for a couple days and then you go like, oh, I need X color, but I don't
Mhm.
want to unink this, and then it just spirals.
Yeah, it really does.
What's your favorite ink?
My favorite ink, um, hmm, is a yellow ink by Jacques Bond, and it's the amber color. I always butcher the name, Amber of Burmanie or Burmaine. It's a
Yeah, I've got
beautiful,
a swatch of it. It's a great color.
it's a beautiful color. It's such a great like toasty yellow but brownish. Um, and then I second to that would be like the Tinterias color with Sailor homemade tortilla. That's like beautiful. But I think the Jacquerbon amber color is my number one favorite color.
All right. What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
Mm. Oh, that's hard. I think for inks, I think I like Diamine a lot just because they do have that range and they've been doing inks for a while, right? And they've been making inks for other people as well.
Yeah.
So I think I like them for inks. For for pens, I think I know you said either or, but I want to answer the pen question as well. Hmm.
You can
I think I'm
people give an answer for both.
Okay, yeah. It's kind of hard not to. I would say again Twisby just because like it's like a great little brand. I mean it's not little, but it's a great brand. It's got great colors, great options, and it's relatively affordable compared to like, Mont Blanc or some other
Yeah.
brands. So yeah, I think Twisby and then Diamond.
Vintage or modern?
Ooh, modern. Simply because I don't have I think I only have one vintage pen. Um And so, yeah, I would lean modern just because of that.
That's fair. Do you swatch all your inks?
In the beginning, I tried to, but then I was kind of working on my own little swatch system, and it never really became a thing just because I've been looking for this perfect setup. Um, and so as I started adding inks to my collection, I would just put them aside and I would tell myself I'll swatch them later. But now I like they're all over the place and I've swatched half of them. I haven't swatched the others and now they're mixed together, so I probably have to start again. And so no. I would say no.
Do any pens always get the same ink or do you always switch it up?
Mm. I do try to switch it up just because, like, especially the pens with swirly materials that have different colors, you try to like, at least I try to like put something that coordinates with all of the colors. But I have done a few pens where the combination just works really well. So I just keep inking it up with the same color. So I've done that with two pens. I just keep putting the same color over and over again. But for others, I do try to change it up a little bit.
I have pens like that as well, but like just the match is too perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah. Why reinvent that wheel, right? If it
I
works, it
match
works.
perfection.
Yeah.
Do you keep your nib writing samples so you know the nib in every pen, or do you just know what nib is in every pen?
I'm kind of weird in that I don't like to change out the nibs in my pens. Like if it came with that nib, it's
Okay.
gonna stay with that nib for forever. So in a lot of my pens, I have a lot of stock nibs. So there are a lot of mediums, broads, and stubs. I think the only like there's like less than a handful of pens with like custom grinds. And then I do have a few loose nibs that are just not even in pens. I haven't even touched them. Like they're probably a year old and I haven't even tested them. Um, so yeah, I don't keep writing samples of a lot of things. I always look at the nib that's in there and like, oh, it's a medium.
Yeah, that was going to be my question about because you like stock nibs. So are you into custom grinds or are they just like not your thing?
I do. It's just like so when I started my pen journey, it was kind of during the pandemic, and then like the first pen show that I went to, I didn't have a lot of time to walk around and get a custom grind. But then the following pen show, I did get a handful of them. I think I got two or three with Gina. Um, and I got like I think a reverse architect, a cursive italic, and then I had my one of my vintage pens. Looked at. So they did something to it to make it right better. Uh but it's just that I don't have I haven't had the chance to really explore custom custom grinds. But the few loose nibs that I have are from Monty. Remind me the name.
Winfield.
Yes. Yes, I've bought like three or four of them
So
and
you went. really far into like buying just Nibs world.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
you
it's
jumped
just
off the cliff.
and like I said, I just haven't had time to explore, so they're just waiting for me. And I do have another one from Nib Lab, Jose Munuera in Spain. No, he's not in Spain. He's in Ireland. Um, but I do have one from him, and so but yeah, those are somewhere else. They're not in my pens currently.
The fact that those Nibs come up as like people's grails or like people's somedays, and you're like, I have them and I've never used them.
I think the one by Nib Lab I have used a few times. It's sitting in a actually, let me see. Is it sitting in here? No, that's the wrong pen. But it's sitting in a Brook. Oh, that's actually it's right here. Um, yeah, it's right here. And it was inked up with blue color, and I should probably change it up because it's been a few weeks. Um, it's probably dry.
What's a pen you wish you could see in person?
Mm. I think that the pen that I wish I could see in person is the Montegrappa Venus de Milo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful pen. So that's the one. Yeah,
All right. What's your current grail?
I think that one. No, actually, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. My current grail that I'm actually actively like seeking and hoping that I find it is this Sailor Shishikura. No, yeah, yes, Shishikura, and it's a beautiful like navy body with like this dusty pink cap and like an ivory section. It's just gorgeous. And it's like when I first started in my fountain pen journey, I
Mhm.
saw that pen on like somebody was selling it for like $450, and I was like, oh my God, like people are buying, like this is so expensive. I realized it was a beautiful pen, but I didn't know much about it. I didn't know much about the artist. I didn't know much about Sailor. So I was like, somebody else can buy that. But now I'm kicking myself because I wish I would have bought that. It was a great price too.
To be fair, there's a fairly good record of people naming pens in this section and then like them acquiring them.
Yes.
I received another text last week from somebody who'd acquired their grail after mentioning it in an
Oh
episode.
wow. Well, let's
You
hope
never
I have
know.
this. Let's hope I have the same luck.
Somebody who watches this might be willing to part with theirs.
I know a few, I knew like I know a handful of people that have that pen, but they're not letting go of it. So, but maybe watching this video, they'll reconsider.
What pen would you recommend to a beginner?
I would probably recommend Alami Safari
Okay.
just because like it's got a lot of colors. There's quite a few nib options and the nib is interchangeable. It's a workhorse. You don't have
Mhm.
to worry about like, breaking it. It's pretty affordable again. So, and then also Lamy has gold nib. So if you ever want to venture into that, then you have that. So yeah, Lamy Safari.
Okay. What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
Mm, this would probably be a little scary, but I think Diamine Oxblood, just because it's such an interesting color and it's like almost that dark enough that it could maybe not pass as like black. It's not. It won't pass as a black color, but it's like dark enough that it doesn't call attention to it. It's just a dark like burgundy color. So I think that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valid. What advice do you have for somebody who might want to try out fountain pens but is a bit intimidated by them?
Mm. When I first started, I used to think that you would wear out the nib. So I would just say like even though I never followed this, like use the pen, use the ink. There will always be another new color, another bottle of ink you can buy, unless it's like the Pilot Iroshizuku Inaho, right? Because that's discontinued now, and good luck getting that. But like use the ink, use the notebook. It's just paper, it's just ink. So use your stuff.
Yeah. What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you actually like to use it or not?
I think the snorkel is the most interesting. And I don't have anything with that, but it's just so cool.
See, I have my grandfather's and I've never used it.
Does it work?
Oh yeah, no, it's I've had people look at it. I've had pen restorers look at it. It's in perfect working order. Matthew Chen has fixed the nib on it. Like it
Oh
is.
wow.
I am terrified to ink it up. Whenever people say, "Do you use all the pens in your collection?" I go, "Yes, except for that one. That one sits in its box and looks pretty."
If I at my next pen show, if I find a vintage pen that has that filling mechanism, I'll see if I can buy it if it's
Oh,
like
I
a
can
good
introduce
price.
you to people at Chicago that deal in them.
Okay. Okay. Because yeah, it's so interesting.
There's
But it's just I think how does the cleaning work? I don't know. That's just something else.
That's so complicated, but
Yeah, see, that's kind of why I'm like, I'm kind of glad I don't have one.
there are a couple people at Chicago that just deal in vintage Schaefer pens.
Yeah, yeah. And I would think you would probably it would be better to just ink it up with the same color than to have to, yeah,
What nib size do you prefer to write with?
medium. A good trusty little medium. Yeah, can't go wrong with that. It's just a perfect width, you know. It'll show you the color of the ink, but it's also not exaggerated on your page. So, medium.
Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Like what do you mean?
Some people like the idea of flex but would never actually use
Mm,
a flex nib. Some people find stack nibs intriguing but
mm.
would never actually want one.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. I think like a triple B, something like that. Just like again, like just usability. Like, yeah, I get it. Like you can use up a lot of ink, but I sometimes write kind of tiny. But so yeah, a triple B would just be something I would never use.
I've only tried one. I've
Yeah.
tried Omasa's and it writes like a Sharpie. And
Yeah.
there's something appealing about that. It's like, oh, this is sort of really fun. And then I go,
Yeah.
oh, would I ever actually use this?
Right. Yeah. Even I like with my a few stubs that I have, I'm like, oh, this is just too much. Like I feel like I can't control it. It's just my writing looks funky because it's so short and now it's like stout, you know? So so yeah, a triple B would just be outrageous.
Yeah. Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper? If not, what paper's your favorite?
Mhm. I got really hooked on Cosmo Airlight, so I have like two or three notebooks.
Which is now
Uh
discontinued.
yes. Uh, but I think Taroko Shop has still has a few of them, so I think I'm gonna after this interview, I'm gonna go and get some notebooks just because I really need to. I, I don't want to venture into trying the new old Tomoe River just because we've seen all the mess that's going on, and I just don't want to deal with that. And then I tried some paper by Musubi.
Okay.
Um, it's the Rasa paper, and surprisingly, like one of my shop's inks, I did a whole spread, and I almost freaked out because I was like, "This is the wrong color." Like I did not approve this. This looks insane. And what have I done? Because like all my bottles were filled and labeled and packaged, and I was like, what did I just do? And then I realized it wasn't the ink, it was a paper. So I was like, okay, well, I can't trust this paper now
Yeah.
just because it completely changed the color. It didn't completely, but it was like it went from like a toasty yellow or brownish to a pink. And it was just like, no, that's not what I wanted.
What is your least favorite ink or ink color family?
My least favorite ink or ink color family. That's a hard one. Um, I guess, hmm, I don't think there's anything that I really dislike. There are some turquoises that I just like. Maybe I don't care too much for those. Um, so yeah, I'll stick with that turquoise.
Well, thanks for playing 20 questions.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun.